When you think about homemade soup, do you think about standing in front of a pot for 2 or 3 hours, slicing, dicing, chopping, time consuming? Well, we could rethink soup. It doesn't necessarily have to come from a can of soup. Let's talk about this back when? In a minute. Good morning. Good morning. This is Jan from New York City. My channel name is Jan from New York City Saves Money. I truly love helping people keep some more of their own hard earned money. And with that, I also like to include some time saving tips and tricks when it comes to recipes. Yeah. Now, many of us, when we think, well, you want a little soup, and the immediate knee jerk reaction is to run to the cupboard and heat up a can of soup of which you add some water to it. But I'll be honest with you, sometimes it's fine to do that, and sometimes you just want your own thing, you know what I mean? And sometimes it could be costly. It all depends. If you got your canned soup at a great price, great. But another thing that we can do is take a little help from other ingredients. Let's say we don't have any canned soup in the house, but we may have other ingredients. I like this idea of being able to make a fresh soup, if you will, because you just put it together freshly in under 15 minutes. And I mean from start to finish. So while you're getting these other things ready, here's what you do. Suppose you want to make 4 cups of soup, literally 4 to 6 cups. Measure that out, put it in your pot, put it on a slow simmer. Just all you're doing is simmering water. In the meantime, you're breaking open or cutting open, whatever. You are opening up a can. This works really well. 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. Okay. 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. If you don't have an 8-ounce can of tomato sauce, use a little bit of tomato paste to taste. Okay. Now, this is going to be for vegetable soup. Okay. Break open a can of mixed vegetables. I highly recommend keeping a few cans or frozen, whatever you have in the freezer. Take it out as you need it. Mixed vegetables. In the meantime, what you can do if you want, you could chop up some fresh onion. It's good to have some fresh elements in your soup. So while all that's mixing together and simmering, you're chopping up some fresh onion. Some people prefer to simmer their onion in a little bit of oil or butter before they enter it into that soup. That's totally fine. Or you could just chop it up, fresh onion, just throw it right into that soup that's simmering. Meantime, all that is simmering, right? And you're on your way 90% already to your meal. Now, you could take your favorite, you might have a cup or two of pre cooked rice in your refrigerator. This is why I always say it pays to keep a couple of cups of cooked rice already done up in your refrigerator. This is an example. Hey, you have some leftover broccoli, florets chopped up, whatever vegetable scraps you have left over from previous meals, don't let it go to waste. Throw it in there. You got yourself already an inexpensive, very quick meal. You got yourself, use this as a side dish, or if you prefer, you want it to be your main course, that's totally fine. Some people have a bowl of this fresh vegetable soup. I call it fresh because you just put it together right then and there. Some people will have that and have maybe a corn muffin on the side and call it a day. And there's totally nothing wrong with that. Some people want to keep this type of soup as the side dish, for example. Maybe have a sandwich, a grilled cheese sandwich, for example. That's heavenly enough. Now, here's another thing, another soup item. Again, less than 15 minutes. My mom used to enjoy this. I used to make this for her. I would get, that boxed soup mix, the dry one. You could turn it out into actually an egg drop soup very easily. I believe the directions are to enter 4 cups into the pot. You simmer that, you mix the ingredients, follow the package directions. And then I would crack open 2 eggs once it is simmering and just stir it together. And there you go, chicken egg drop soup for a song. Very, very inexpensive. Both meals are very, very fast, very, very easy to do, and perfect for those nights when you like forgot to take that meat down from the freezer. Or if you don't really like meat too much and you're okay with having eggs, you could just do that. There are other alternatives besides just breaking open that prescribed can of soup that's already sitting there. There's nothing wrong with those cans of soup, but sometimes you want something that has a little bit more of a personalized thing for it. Now, another pasta that I like to work with, I recommend this. Smaller size pastas, if you're making these kinds of soups, okay? I like to work with orzo. Orzo, when you look at orzo pasta, they kind of remind me of cantaloupe seeds. That's me. Some people say it looks like rice to them. To me, it looks more like a cantaloupe seed. Just saying, just saying. Or ditalini, ditalini. You don't need a lot. You don't need a lot to enter into those soups. But boy, it sure really makes for a great meal. Meals, a lot of people, I don't know what it is and why they do it. Many people tend to overtly complicate meals. We're going to talk more about that in a future video. It really doesn't pay to do that. It doesn't pay to complicate your meals. It really doesn't. So I just gave you two soup ideas under less than 15 minutes of your time. That's why getting back to a clean refrigerator, which we just recently spoke about, is really important. I do recommend doing this. Keep a separate container for leftover vegetables and just put them in as you go along throughout the week. Towards the end of the week, let's think about this for a minute, is the perfect night to make one of the soups that I just mentioned. And if you don't happen to have that, and you just have that box soup mix, which comes out really, really good, and you can make that chicken egg drop soup. That is totally delicious. That is a meal in and of itself because it has the protein in it already. You could make that the star of the show. My mom totally loved that with a couple of pieces of toast on the side, and she was in business and she was very happy with that. So you could try that too. If you've never tried that before, I highly recommend it. Long time ago, there was a show on TV, and it often worked with, as they call it, a semi homemade ingredients. Let's think about this. It's kind of like that. You're taking your flip on the idea, you're entering, let's say, some fresh onion or whatever vegetable you want to add that you have that is fresh. And you also have stuff that is canned ready. Canned mixed vegetables are a bargain. By the way, on that very same network, someone else mentioned something, and this is something I like to remind people of a lot: frozen blocks of spinach. Do you know that according to that person on that network, she said this about 10 years back, that one frozen block of fresh spinach that's frozen, guess what? That equals 4 pounds of fresh spinach. Wow. I would say you are getting your money's worth. So look carefully and stock up carefully for future meal components. Hey, less than 15 minutes for two different soups. I would say that's a pretty good deal. All right. Listen, everybody, take good care. I would appreciate it if you would do the following. Have an amazing, fantastic day. Take good care of yourselves and each other.